All right, so here we go. Taberne Talks. We are a special Sunday show here, okay? This is like bringing me back a year ago to another Sunday show that I had at 10 a.m. This one's at 11, so it's a little bit later. We let this guy sleep an hour later than the last guy that came on a year ago and won Rookie of the Year. I did it again, all right? We got number 2 Rookie of the Year in a row here, okay? So this is special stuff because the last one was Ron. He brought the fire, and now I have Alex Frederick, and he's going to bring the fire because it's not easy to win Rookie of the Year. I talk to a lot of agents. I deal with a lot of agents for years. It's not easy to win anything in this market, period.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
So this is big stuff when you got somebody who is fresh off of winning an award. He's got to be doing something right. I don't know what it is. We're going to find out, though. You know, what he does day to day, how he became who he is, and, what he's going to do to continue to be a success in the business. So, Alex, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I'm ready to get started.
Awesome.
This is my first public podcast.
I love it.
So
I love it. That's good. That's good.
Big
And you slept last night, right? It's not like you.
I got some sleep. I got disease.
That's good. That's good. So, give us your background, man. All right. So, tell us how you got to where you are today.
Gotcha.
In a gist, not the whole.
Yeah. We won't take up a full hour,
Right.
but I actually found real estate coincidentally or accidentally. I was a senior at Penn State. My friends were getting accepted to law school, getting big jobs with banks, financial companies. I kind of didn't really have anything to show for it. And so I just started throwing out my application to any company I could find on Indeed and on Google. And a buddy of mine, well, at the time, I didn't really know him too well, but my buddy Joe M's, one of my good friends now, he calls me, says, "Hey, I saw your resume come across our desk. Why don't you come, check out what we're doing? We're at a company, we're wholesaling properties."
Okay.
So he's like, "Get your license, come down here. We'll make a lot of money." So I did that. I kind of felt trapped to the, you'll be making $100,000 in the first year.
Right.
What I didn't know is you actually have to come, put in the work, things like that.
You got to do something.
Yeah. So I lasted about 3 months at that wholesaling company. I got a couple of deals under contract, but when you're wholesaling,
it's a whole different ballgame.
You're lucky if you can close 50% of those deals.
Okay.
Didn't last long, made it like 3 months. I took the first job I could get after I had no money. So I was working at this financial services company for a year and a half, wanted to get back into real estate. So I got a job in 2020, right before the world shut down, at a local property management leasing company.
Okay.
So my job was a little unique. My job was to bring on new leasing and property management clients. But to do that, you have to have a license. So I kept up with it.
Sure. I
did some leasing deals on the side. Was there for about 4 years, and I kind of felt maxed out there, right? I wanted to make a little bit more money, have a little bit more responsibility. Company was content where I was, which is, that's fine. I respect it. But I just wanted bigger things for myself. So I started interviewing around brokerages, had some money saved up, and I said, you know what? If there's ever a time, let's take a shot. And,
when did you officially get into being in the real estate business to
full-time commission, all commission agent, first week, like April 3rd of 2024.
Okay. So you are new, man. Wow.
Yeah.
And I like that.
New in the sense of like brand new to the commission, but I had a background.
Right. You had the background, but 100% commission is a whole different ballgame.
Oh yeah.
Real estate sales is a whole different ballgame. Residential, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the one of the hardest markets out there, right? So that's not easy. We see a ton of fallout. I'm sure you see it.
Yeah.
And nobody getting in right now. So it's tough. So, all right. So then, so you got your license in April. Jeez. Were you like, so what's good about you is you're not jaded, right? So you didn't go through the pandemic market when the rates were 2% and 3% and the deals were falling out of the sky and the houses were just flying and anybody can make $100,000 at a blink of an eye, right? You didn't go through that, which is good, right?
Depends who you ask, but yeah, I got you.
Right? I mean, you didn't get spoiled, right? People got spoiled,
yeah,
right? You didn't. You started after all that, so you wouldn't know that, which is good. Or am I wrong?
No, well, that's what Mike McCann keeps telling me too. He says, you started at the best time because you get to learn the business and the people that can be successful in a down market.
Correct.
Now we're just waiting for the market to pick up. So fingers crossed, things look better than they were
Are you
last
on
year.
the McCann team?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right. So you're on the McCann team, which is one of the most successful team in the city. I'm not going to say one of them. I think they are the biggest and baddest of all.
Yeah, I think the last 30 years they've been the number one team.
Right.
Right.
So shout out to them. They do good things. We've had some people on the show from their team. We have to get Mike himself, though, I think, next, which is not easy.
That's going to be a 2-hour show for you.
It'll be a 2-hour show, but you got to get his schedule in order to get him on the show, number one. And then you talk about the show after that.
Yeah.
So, all right. So you went on his team. Take us to your first couple months then. I mean, that's got to be, rates are in the 7s, although you don't care because, like I said, you didn't see rates in the 3s. So you just started off as a regular,
Yeah, so I was on Pro Coaching, which is the team that Rada was on. So Bill Kelly is probably the number one pro coaching coach, maybe in the country, definitely in the region. So I started off on his team. And I mean, the first couple months are a lot of failure, right? A lot of making the phone calls, working the open houses, not seeing much success. So,
and nobody's giving you any leads, right? So you're
a couple of rental leads here and there. I had some friends in the business that were throwing me some of their rental leads. They didn't want to do the showing. So I was like, I'll happily jump in. I experienced doing it, but
that wasn't what you really wanted to do.
Yeah. I came from the world of leasing. I wanted to do sales, right? Like I wanted to get to the pros.
Where the money's at.
Exactly.
Right. Sure.
It's more fun too.
I get it, man. I get it.
But first couple months were brutal. That's why you have to come into it with some savings. You have to understand, we have to run lean. You have to understand that it's not going to happen overnight. Real estate is a 45 to 90 day business. So the work you're putting in today isn't for tomorrow. It's for 3, 4, 5, 6 months from
down
now.
The road. Right.
Yeah. So it was brutal, but I just, I was there for a reason. I had my purpose, and I just, when times got tough, I just kept hitting the phones, and I, every rejection that I got, I was looking for at least one person to give me an opportunity, another name to add to the database. So that was basically the first 3 months, was just 2 to 3 hours of cold calls a day, 3 to 4 open houses a weekend, doing the
and who are you cold calling?
I keep saying anyone that'll pick up, but in reality, it's expireds and FSBOs. That's my bread and butter.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're calling expireds or people that had their houses listed but now it expired, and then you're jumping in saying, "Hey, I can sell your house," and the last guy maybe didn't do enough work, but I can.
Yeah, I never try and sling mud at other realtors, right? Like, we're all in this business together. I never want to root for injury, but that's the gist of it, right? Like, look, it didn't work out with the first person. If I'm going to do the same thing that the last person did, it's not going to work out. So at least hear me out, see what I can do for you.
Okay.
If you like what I have to say, we can work together. If not, you never have to hear from me again.
Right. And how many of the yeses do you ever get out of that? Is it like 1 out of 100, or is it less than that, or even like 1 out of 500?
I should know the numbers a little bit better. But if I make about 100 calls, I can expect to have 5 to 7 real pickups, not wrong numbers. And probably for every 10, 15 people I speak to, I'll get 1 appointment set, something like that.
So those numbers are not horrible. 1 out of 15 that actually want to set an appointment.
Yeah, maybe it's 1 out of 20. The other thing you have to consider too is not everyone's going to say yes on the first phone call. And every agent that phone calls, so you have 100 phone calls for an expired coming in at a time. These people are overwhelmed, right? Where you can set yourself apart from the rest is lead follow-up, right? Are you following up with them weekly? Are you, standing out, doing things a little bit different, not just
How many deals do you think you've won just off of follow-up?
Last year, I think I did 17 closed deals. I think from lead follow-up, probably at least 6 or 7.
All right, so did you hear what he just said? 17 closed deals is first. You haven't even been in it a year. April,
almost a year. Yeah,
almost a year, right?
Yeah.
It's another. So less than 1 year, right? 17 closed sales. I saw a thing on Facebook and posted that 70% of realtors didn't close 1 deal.
Yeah,
in all of 2024, not one. The other 20% only closed a couple. Mm-hmm. And then your top 5% out of everyone in the whole country closed multiple deals, maybe like you, if not even to that extent. Right. So what happened? How did that happen?
The 70% who didn't close one.
No, how did you close? How did you beat 99% of the market?
That's a crazy number before I jump into that. 70%.
Right,
how are they eating? Are they just doing sale or leasing?
They must be doing leasing, or a lot of them are getting out.
Yeah.
Or they're working
Part-time,
second jobs,
yeah.
part-time jobs. You won't believe how many of them are working part-time jobs and you don't even know. Okay. To make ends meet and hoping that they'll get a deal on the side. You know, they got families to feed, bills to pay. You can't just sit around and not close a deal the whole year. So you got to have some type of money coming in. So they're doing things to make ends meet. So that's the answer to that question. But I'm more into how you did what you did.
So
that's mind blowing.
I mean, goes back to Bill Kelly. Shout out Bill Kelly. He is brutally honest with you, and he'll tell you up front what you need to do in order to do business, right? You have to have a couple of spinning plates. How are you going to get business? Is it going to be your sphere? Is it going to be cold calling people? Is it going to be Instagram? Is it going to be open houses? And for me, what worked were cold calls. I have a 10-year background in phone sales, so I knew that's something I could do well.
So you were not shy of calling somebody off the whim.
No, and I'm going to be honest, at this point, I'm a sicko. I enjoy getting up and making my calls every morning. Like I love the hunt, the chase for the deal. I enjoy it at this point.
That's good.
Not at first. At first, it was definitely a lie.
We need hunger. Yeah. All right, good. So
but cold calls and open houses, you know, the cold calls, I was making probably 4 hours a day at one point.
Open houses where?
So I was doing them all over. And I learned very early on that, especially in a market like the city, where you're lucky if you get 3 people to come through, you have to be very intentional. So open houses, I would make friends with all of the bigger name agents, right? Whether they be on McCann or CCL. And so I'd look for when they post their new listings so that I could be like, hey, can I get in there and work opening weekend?
You're smart, right? You went right to the source of a new hot listing that may have just come up, and I want to do an open house there.
Yeah. And you got to know the market too, right? Like there are certain markets in the city that a new listing, that's not really where I want to work. Or there are certain streets that, you know, like there's no residential homes on that street except for the one that you're working, right?
Sure.
So I was trying to be strategic about location, timing, price point, and things like that.
Okay. So you did your homework. You said, listen, this one is probably going to be a good open house wherever, maybe on the main line, maybe sometimes, or
mostly in the city, but yeah.
Mostly in the city. And you had good turnouts at some of these open houses or?
Yeah. I mean, to get good turnout to open houses in the city, I think it's more than just scheduling the open houses. So I was doing things like knocking on doors, putting my flyers for the open houses in the doors, calling around the neighborhood to invite people.
So you were doing a lot before the open house.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think you have to, right? If the goal for the open house should be to get 10 people through the door. And if for every open house you walk away with one lead, that's a win. But in the city last summer, I think if you could walk away with every other open house with the real buyer lead, that's a good win.
It was a good win.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
So I just tried to, you know, especially when you're a new agent, you're not out on showings, you're not out on listing appointments. So you really do have to think like, what am I doing from 9 to 6 or 8 to 6 p.m. to generate business or to go on appointments? And if I'm not going on appointments, I need to be generating business so that I can go on more appointments. So I was just doing everything I can to get my face out there.
Do you think that a lot of agents that's the problem in the business right now is that they don't know what to do from 9 to 6, so they're doing nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, and that's not to put down loan officers too, because I see it too on my side. These guys come to, it's not a 9 to 5 job, right? So there is no 9 to 5. It is where you go where the business is, whenever the business is, right? So you don't, you can't, you have to find things to do is right. You have to have a schedule. 9 to 10, I'm going to make calls. 10 to 11, I'm going to try to meet realtors like you. 12 to 1, I'm going to find out who I'm going to do my podcast with this week. Like I try to stick to a schedule and then deal with my clients or in process from 1 to 3 and then deal with maybe going to a closing that day, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
You need a
time block. Yeah. Do you think that the problem is that loan officers and agents don't know what they should be doing?
I think there is no guide. You're right. The guys that I brought with me under me in the past, I've helped mentor schedules.
Gotcha.
Like you can't get into this business without a mentor, as you know.
Yeah.
Right. So, Mike McCann is your mentor, I'm sure, or Bill Kelly. I'm sorry. Bill Kelly.
Both of them. I'd consider both. Yeah.
Let's say both. Okay. So you have that and they're helping you tell you what to do. So you're not bored all day and they just throw you to the wolves and say, hey, Alex, have a nice life. And let me know if you get a deal in a month or they don't care where you are. Right. You got to have somebody who actually cares about your success.
Yeah.
Because it makes them look good. right? It makes me feel good if I were to mentor you and you became Rookie of the Year. That to me is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Forget about the money. The money will come down the road.
Yeah.
Just the success of, I built this guy from nothing, right? And now he's the Rookie of the Year. That's what makes me feel better. And I think that's where you're right. A lot of agents don't have that.
You know, and I think a part of it too is there's a lot of agents that know what they could be doing, right? You could just work an open house every single day from 4 to 6, and that's your thing. And there's a lot of agents that find success doing it. I think a lot of people just don't want to put in the work, and they just think like, I just want these Zillow leads to come in easily. I just want these agents to come out of the woodwork and send me, lending leads. Like,
yeah.
I think a lot of people they want these handouts. And in this business, you really got to be a hunter, like a killer. You really got to be out there finding your own business. And then if you get leads, great. But if the sole part of your business is leads that are coming in from other sources and you're not generating them organically, maybe you have a little success in a year like 2021. But I think, the long-term agents, the Allison Simons of the world, the people that do 100+ deals a year, they're not sitting back and waiting for their phone to ring. They're going out and doing things so that their phone continues to ring.
You know what she does? Like, have you...
I've listened to a couple of classes that she has hosted, and I've tried to soak in what she does. But whatever she does, it's incredible. Because
is it she just has a big network? Do you need a big
I think
network?
now she has a big network, but
Right.
I'm guessing down the road she did stuff to make sure that her pipeline was as prosperous as it is. But I mean, to be the number one solo agent in volume every year at a brokerage like Keller Williams is impressive, and like. She kind of looks like she does it without breaking a sweat on the front. So it's pretty crazy to see. And anytime I can get a chance to listen to someone like that speak, I try and soak up what they do. But what they tell you is they do all the stuff that you're supposed to do. They make the calls. They talk to their sphere. They put them on the 36 touch plan. They, do everything. They show up every day. They're consistent. So
It's in the follow-up. Big time.
Money's in the follow-up. That's what they say. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, the money is in the follow-up. This is what I've still learned after 20 years. If you don't follow up with these people, even if they tell you no, and still follow up with them down the road.
I'm going to be following up with them instead. So yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
I mean, how many guys are actually hungry to do the follow-up? I don't think too many.
I think a lot of people too get discouraged by the no. For example, like I got a FSBO listing on Spring Garden Street. And at the office, people were coming up to me being like, yeah, I was calling this guy too. He told me he wasn't going to be ready for another month. What did you do differently? I said, he told me a month too. I kept calling him every week to see how the activity was. And I kept saying, look, I know you're not going to be ready for another month, but how was it this weekend? Do you need any help?
Right.
Tried to bring some value, hey, here's some tips that you can do. Maybe get some professional photography done. Because ultimately, like if they tell you a month, everyone might wait for a month. I want to be in front of him every week so that he remembers me a month from now when he is ready. So,
and you're stealing the deals that way quicker from the person who's waiting that month, which is
you make yourself stand out a little bit more, which I think is important in this market.
Your tips to stay motivated.
You got to have a purpose, right? I think a lot of people get into this and they think, I just want to make a lot of money and I want the financial freedom. But if that's your only reason for getting into real estate, I think you're going to burn out very quickly.
So I see all these, Instagram stars, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Instagram real estate stars.
Let's talk about that.
Let's talk
I have some
about
opinions.
That, right? I'm sure you have many opinions because you are a young person, and you guys live and breathe this stuff. But there's a lot of I go on Instagram a lot. It's probably turned into my number one source over Facebook, even though Facebook was for years was big. Instagram seems like it took over. Okay. So I just see so many agents and so many people saying they're having such successful, days and years and weeks, and they're closing 17 deals this month. And, you just see so many things, but tell me the truth. Because I know you know the truth.
Let me preface this by saying my Instagram, my social media presence could be a lot better, right? I know that. And I'm not trying to bring anyone down that has a great social media presence. But I see a lot of these people that post 3 reels a week. And in my head, I'm thinking like, wow, they must be killing it, right? And that's what you want people to think.
Correct.
But you can look up, it's public record, right? You can go to homes.com or Zillow or the MLS and you can see how many deals people are actually doing.
Right.
Right. And I just think that as great as Instagram is, if that's your spinning plate, that's how you're bringing in deals, you need to have like 5-6 leads coming from that a month, or else you're spending all these hours doing coffee shop tours, or, what can 500,000 get you in Fishtown, right?
These videos.
Great
right.
content. I love it from a consumer standpoint. From an agent standpoint, personally, I'd rather be putting my effort into the cold calls because that works. Maybe this actually works for these people though. I just think.
Yeah, but you hit it on the nose. You see the numbers.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you look up the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same as a loan officer. They act like they're a guide. You look up their numbers and they haven't closed anything.
Yeah.
Right. So, and not to put them down. You're right.
No,
Let them do whatever they want to do.
That's their hustle. And
that's their hustle.
That's their hustle.
But you're wasting your time most of the time if you're not getting anything out of it.
Yeah.
And
it's your resume though. That is your new resume. Think about it. If you meet some 25-year-old, 30-year-old first-time home buyer, they meet you at an open house. What's the first thing they're going to do to look you up? They're not going to go to the MLS. They're not going to go.
They're going to go on Instagram.
They're going to go on Instagram. They're going to see. Let me see what this guy posts. Right. So you need to have that online presence. I do, and that's something Bill Kelly always teaches. Is that's your resume. If you haven't posted in a month and you meet someone, they go and look at your Instagram. You haven't posted in a month. His argument would be, store's closed, right? You ever looked up a restaurant on Instagram? They haven't posted in like 3 months. You're like,
you think
is this place still open?
Right,
yeah, exactly.
Up. So you think they think that way about real estate agents too, when they or loan officers, whatever it may be in real estate?
I mean, maybe they do, maybe they don't.
You believe it? You believe something needs to be posted every day?
I'm no pro in this, and there are definitely better people that can speak on this with authority, but I think that you need to post at least 1 or 2 times a week.
Okay.
And again, that's a goal of mine that I need to set.
That's good. Yeah.
I think 1 reel a week, even if you get only 500, not only, but if you get 500 views, it's a lot of views. I think it's partly also, you want your sphere. It's a passive way to remind your sphere, hey, I can help you find a home, or hey, I can help you get financing for a home, or do a refinance, or things like that. Gives you an opportunity to show that you know what you're talking about. You can do educational pieces.
This is
like that.
What he's talking about is organic marketing, right? Marketing that he does that's coming from himself.
Yeah.
Being on camera, doing things like this or whatever it may be. I'm seeing a lot of cheesy marketing. What I mean by cheesy marketing, okay, is that the company has an HR department or something, or I'm sorry, a marketing department, and they just do these fake things, and it's a computer AI thing doing it for them.
Yeah.
And it does it, it says what program you have, or that you're a good agent. I'm available 7 days a week, and it's done by the companies. You know what I'm talking about? Cheesy marketing. So this is to you guys out there. If you're going to market, you got to market yourself. You got to put your own posts together. You have to write your own material, and you have to film your own videos. You can't have the company do it for you, AI, because it looks fake.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, we have 2 full-time marketing employees at the McCann team, right? So it's a valuable tool. And I mean, I think one of the best Instagrams I've seen. Do you know Ben Houston-Jones?
I know he is.
British realtor?
Yeah, British guy, sure.
His Instagram is great because it's organic. He's a goofy guy in general, but he's very professional and serious. And so he has great content. I know that people check up on his Instagram before they work with him. He probably gets leads from it. So it definitely works. I just see a lot of agents out there putting all their effort into that, and the numbers don't really speak to it, the fact that it's working. So for me, I know that I need to get better there, but personally, I know I make more business.
Well, right now, whatever you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. But you can always get better.
Yeah, you can always get better, but whatever you're doing is working. Right. So I don't know if you need an audit on your business right now, because your business is a lot higher than. I mean, listen, how many new guys are coming into KW every month, just getting their license like you, that are bringing? Is it monthly that they bring in a whole team of people, or
weekly? Man, weekly. Revolving door. Weekly. That's the business model for these brokerages, though, is bring in as many people as possible, help them get licensed, and see what sticks them when you throw it on the wall. You know what I mean? So a lot of people are getting in part-time. A lot of people are getting in and leaving. So what do you think the percentages of people that are getting in and then automatically leaving a few months later? So I don't know the number exactly, but I will say when I was on pro coaching, that's a team where you're bringing in new agents to coach them up and teach them how to be agents.
Right.
I would say like 1 week you'd have 10 new people. A month later, 5 of them would be gone.
They would be gone already.
Yeah, like not on the calls. Maybe they're still there, but they've lost the motivation to even get on the coaching calls. So, for all.
And then what do you think? Let's say out of 25, how many actually stick? Like a guy like you that sticks?
Maybe 1 or 2,
out
3, 4.
Yeah.
It's hard to say.
This is the truth of reality. This is why I brought him on. because he's a young guy and young realtor, and they see this stuff because they go in these coaching classes because he just went through it this year.
Yeah.
That this is 2 people stick out of 25 right now. They're not doing the work. They don't want to do the work. They find out that it's a real job.
And I think part of it too is, there are people out there that put in the work, but you also need to develop the skills, right? So I didn't just start, like I used to telemarket in college. And
so you had the personality already.
I had experience on the phones, right? Like the tips and the tricks and the things that I would get to keep people on the phone, I carried over with me. A lot of people don't have that experience. So that's why you need a guy like Bill Kelly so that he can tell you, hey, here are the objections you're going to see. Here's what's wrong with your intro. Here's how to overcome these objections. Here's how to keep people on the phone. All of that matters. And then obviously putting in the work, but you got to develop the skills as well, or else you're really just shooting into the wind and hoping a bird's flying by, right?
Right. And you can't be shy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that's industry wide, right? I'm sure you meet some shy loan officers,
a lot of them.
But the ones that do the best are the ones that, big smile on their face at all
they
time.
Talk,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
They can talk like this.
Exactly,
they talk shop to anybody, anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Right. The best loan officer realtor can go into a Walmart and talk to somebody that's walking by about real estate or mortgages, and they feel comfortable doing it just like this and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Or you have loan officers and realtors that no one even knows that you're in the business.
Yeah.
They don't post anything about it. They don't give out any business cards. They don't speak to their own family about it. They don't let anybody know what they do.
Yeah. Can't be a secret agent in this business, You
gotta let people know what you do, especially in your neighborhood, especially your family. Like if your cousin doesn't know that you're a realtor, there's a problem here, right? I mean, you should.
Yeah.
Immediate family should know right away, because
man.
you never know if their spear that they give you a deal off of their friends or whatever it may be. So that's a huge problem.
Yeah, it hurts when you see people that use other realtors or other loan officers.
Right.
I imagine, because then
it's a stake in the heart.
It stings because it's
it
like,
hurts.
Man, what did I do to this person? They didn't want to support my business.
Like I'll literally stare at the post, and like things are shooting out of my eyes. I want to blow the screen up, right? Because I just want to crush something because I know that I failed.
Yeah, exactly. It's not their fault. It's
not
our fault.
their fault.
Exactly.
I failed in letting them know that I am what I am or who I am, and I'm good at what I do.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't let them know that. So they don't know.
But see, I think that's also the winning mentality, right? Some people look at that and they go, oh man, this person, they screwed me over. They didn't, but it's like, you got to self-internalize that. That's not their fault. They're free to use whoever they want.
Sure they can.
It's your fault for not putting yourself out there. And I think that some people come into it with the victim mentality. They're not going to be successful in anything they do.
No.
Unless you can take accountability and step up and say, hey, that was on me. I should have called them when I said I was going to, instead of snoozing that reminder to reach out to them.
I'll say it to myself deep inside. I know I screwed up.
Yeah. Good. Because I do too.
I hate it. You know what I mean? Because I know I could have had that deal.
That's the type of thing that gets me back on the phones for another hour.
You're right. It does.
And you're like, I'm going to go to work.
It wakes you up.
Yeah, exactly.
Say, you know what? I can't let that happen.
Exactly.
I just lost a commission there that I would have had. It sucks.
And working with someone that I'd much rather work with people I know than someone that I met cold calling, because at least you know what you're going to get, right?
Right. Like when I see a neighbor close and I talk to that neighbor in the street and he goes, I should have been the one doing that.
Like,
but I wasn't
proactive
proactive enough to tell him that what I do. And I have no social media, so how would he know?
Yep, exactly.
So, all right, man, let's keep moving because you're rolling right now. Like, it doesn't seem like anything phases you that I'm asking you. Like you're.
I think that plays into you too. We got the good setup here. I feel comfortable.
It's good. It's good.
Ready to go.
Sometimes I ask people questions on the show, and it's like, I don't know if they don't want to answer the question sometimes because they're either don't know the answer.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't know the business as well as I thought they knew.
Yeah.
Or they're looking for the right answer. There is no right answer.
Mm-hmm.
You just say what you feel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
I've never had an issue doing that. That's for sure.
Well, there you go. Speaking of Penn State, my daughter goes to Penn State right now. She's a freshman.
Okay.
She's in broadcast journalism.
Nice.
So you brought
it's a good program there. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
One of the best. That's why we sent her there.
Fun school too.
It's an awesome school. She just did Thon this weekend.
Okay.
They're in it right now. Today's the last day.
Yeah. It ends around like 5.
Right.
Yeah.
So she said, but they had to be there like 4 hours before to try to get in today because it was from 12 to 5.
Oh yeah.
And she said the lines are going to be ridiculous. But she was there Friday night from 1:30 in the morning.
I get chills thinking about that.
7 in the morning. And she said because the guys and the girls are mixed, and she said the guys were eating cheesesteaks and fries and burgers at 4 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock in the morning. And I said, well, were they drunk? Or she goes, they're not drunk. It's not that type of party.
No,
she said they don't there's no drinking there. There's
it's a faux pas to be drunk there.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's
she
not
said,
a good
you're
thing.
thinking wrong. It's not a party like that. She said they were just eating cheesesteaks and burgers at 4 o'clock in the morning because they wanted to do that. And I'm so old school because we used to, you would do that after your trip or a long night of drinking.
Exactly. I'm sure they still do. This is just a different environment.
This is a different party. Yeah. So Don, I guess, is a whole different ball game. But she said it was cool.
It's incredible. Fun. Yeah. If she ever does do the thing where she goes down and she dances, you got to be there, man.
She said it's a line dance every hour or something they do, or I don't know.
Yeah, that was my least favorite part when I danced. I was like, I don't... At, hour 26, I'm like, I'm miserable. Yeah, dude. I haven't slept. I haven't sat.
She said people are walking around miserable.
Zombies.
Like 4 o'clock in the morning, she said it was just like they had their hoods up and they have their heads up, and maybe they're talking to one of the people that they had with them. But other than that, it wasn't much talking going on. It was just like everybody's dead.
I also think that my mentality when I went into it was, I'm here for a reason. I signed up for this. I wanted to do it. So I want to have a smile on my face as much time as possible. When I see my friends that were hitting a wall, I was trying to bring them up because it distracted me from the pain that I was feeling, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's a lesson for real estate and for life in general is like the people that wake up and they're like, oh, today's going to suck. They're probably going to have a bad day.
Sure they are.
The people that wake up and they're like,
the
Mike McCann attitude, it's going to be a great day. What type of day is it? That dude looks like he's never had a bad day in his life. So that's
which leads me into out of the, let's say you said you closed 17, but I'm sure you lost some too. Okay. Right. Everybody loses deals.
Now we're getting
right now. It sucks. Right? He's going to unbutton his shirt now, and he's going to take his shoes off, and we're going to get it. We're going to get a business here, right? So you lose deals, right? I lost a lot of deals through my career. Sucks. I closed a lot of deals too, though, so it's great. Mm-hmm. But when you lose them, it hurts. Tell us about what goes on in your mind when you lose a deal, and how do you fight through to continue to be the rookie of the year? You must have just, and going back to Rod again, he seems like he lost some deals too, but he fought through it.
Yeah.
And came back harder the next month.
Yeah, no, that Rada mentality of just, I love his tagline where he's like knocking out deals for clients, you have to have tough skin. Right. Yeah, you have to have tough skin like a boxer. I think that's what makes Rada so successful is he's relentless, right?
Like the market is slow, so you can't, it's slow to some people.
Yeah.
Right. So you can't you can't afford to lose a deal. Okay. It's tough when you lose a deal in a slow market because if you really don't have too much going on and then you lose one, it could mentally give you a shot, right? Because you banked on that paycheck. You needed that money, to pay your bills or whatever it may be. And that's the truth. And it could throw you off completely for a few months. How do you beat that?
If you let a lost deal throw you off for a few months, I'm sorry, something else is wrong. You have to be in this business to know you're not going to land every punch. You're going to get hit in the face a couple of times, but you have to have a pipeline, right? And when I started at first, I'd go to a listing appointment and not get it. I was like, look, I'm new. I wasn't supposed to get it, right? That's the mentality you have to have. On to the next. But then once I started picking up listings and now you have 5, 6, 7 listings, a couple in escrow.
You could afford to.
Now you're like, all right, whatever. If this person doesn't want to work with me, they're lost.
6 others.
Yeah. So, you have to build up that pipeline. But at first, if you're waking up with that deal, I'm going to think about it all day, then you've already lost the day. You got to be able to let it go, right? Take it on the chin, ask them what went wrong, try and figure out what you can do better the next time, learn a lesson, and then move on. That's what it comes down to.
If you knew it was your own mistake on that deal.
Hurts more. Yeah, it hurts more.
It's an open wound then, right?
Yeah.
So because you know that it was you that made the mistake and the deal is now lost or crushed. That hurts even more. You got to break that though.
Yeah.
Like you said, you could think about that deal all day and your production is ruined. Yep. And then you want to have a drink at 5 o'clock, right? Because you thought about the deal all day. And now the only thing you could think of is trying to wash it away.
Yeah.
Which in this business, real estate, they do drink a lot. And
for good reason. Yeah.
Exactly.
I don't condone it.
Right. No, they do.
I see why.
In real estate, they drink a lot, right? So because, they had the deal crashed. It's a stressful deal. I got to go have a beer or a martini, whatever they do. Right. So you got to you got to push through that, so.
Yeah. And I think that, you just got to be of the mindset where like, look, if they don't want to work with me, that's okay. That's their loss. I'm going to go find someone else who wants to work with me more. Because in this business, any agent will tell you working with someone that didn't want to work with you in the first place sucks, right? You're working with someone that doesn't want to work with you. Every little thing that you do wrong, they're going to point out and they're going to give it to you on the phones. You're going to dread when that person calls. That's the worst feeling when you get that phone call.
You
see the caller ID and you're like, oh,
it's a problem.
I'll call you back, but you got to be a bull. You got to run towards it. And you got to really you got to find the people that you enjoy working with. Cause that's what's going to make the business that's what's going to make you not crash out in the long run and, give you the long-term sustainability. So.
Yeah. It's it's not easy, but you keep going and, in your opinion, I wanted to ask this question because, you probably get hit up left and right, especially with, closing the many deals that you closed this year. The best way a loan officer can build a relationship with a producer like you or any producer.
Yeah.
I'm sure you get cheesy pitches too.
Yeah.
Right? Left and right from loan officers you never heard of, companies you never heard of. We have this shiny object. We have that shiny object. Work with me. Okay. What does it for you?
So,
and I asked this question for the loan officers listening. So if you're a loan officer not listening to this, you're wrong because this is the kind of guy you want to hear this from. Go ahead.
The product is great, right? Cross country, movement, Center City mortgages, like all these companies have great products. Everyone's probably got a little bit of variance in between what they can bring. It's just being a real human. And to be honest, it's given opportunities like this where you and I had never met before, right? I'd heard of movement. I'd heard of your name. Can't say I would have pronounced it right, but still,
you can, right? That's it.
That is what I think, like genuine people that come to offices and they shake hands and, I bring in food and drinks helps. But I think the people that I want to work with.
Does it help where, okay, so I bring you, I don't know, I cater a lunch for you guys. Okay. You're going to give me a deal because of that?
No, you're right. No, it's more like I want to work with people that I like. So you're giving me an opportunity here to help my social media and get my name out there, get my face out there. Yeah. That's someone that in the future I want to throw some deals to, right? Your reputation with other agents. So before I came on, I saw Larry. I think you had him on last.
Larry's the man.
I was playing basketball and in between his game and my game, I was asking him, I was like, you ever worked with this guy, Alex, before? He's like,
Larry's great.
Awesome. He's like, and what I love about Alex is I know if I throw him a deal, we're most likely going to close because he's going to do everything he can to keep it alive.
Sure.
That's the type of reputation, I hear that and I'm like, wow, now I'm fired up to be here. Now I'm fired up to send you some deals. And I mean, from the start, you told me there were no strings attached.
There are none. So you're not going to get it. So, and I think we're in 40s now.
Yeah.
Agents that I've had on. A lot of KW.
Wow, 40. Wow.
40, right. So it's been over a year that I've been with George doing this podcast, and it's been rotor after rotor, from Berkshire to KW to, to Compass to all the people that we've had on. You're not going to get pitched by me after the show. This show's more, I do this because I have to get an outlet out myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I see so much stuff weekly. And then with guys like you and people like you and Larry and all that, I think people want to hear the truth. Like I've run into a lot of agents that said, hey, I saw your show. I listened to it because it's local and it's because it's agents in my office, right? That are doing good. And I like to hear what they're doing because I don't ever go in the office anyway. So I don't know what's going on, right? I think that helps.
Yeah.
So.
Again, you want to work with people that you want to work with, but I have a lot of buddies I wouldn't trust as far as I can throw, right? Like, so you need to have, and I love all my friends. I don't mean that in a hard way, but you know who you are.
Oh boy, viewership is going down now. It's supposed to go up.
45 minutes in here. So if they made it this far, I still love you guys.
It's true.
But I think you got to know your stuff like you do. You got to show up. You got to put yourself out there. You got to give people opportunities like this. Cause you're right? If you just showed up to the McCann office with Hoagie, we'd eat them. We'd probably think about you for a little bit, but like it's the long-term connection, right? And
a lot of agents ask other agents, have you heard of this person?
Yeah.
And that makes you feel good though, knowing that another person knows that loan officer.
Anytime a co-op brings me an offer and it's a company I've never heard of, I'm calling this broker or I'm calling the mortgage broker and I'm asking around my office, you ever done business with this company? Because I want to know that they're reputable, right? But if someone comes in from movement or someone from your team reaches out, now I know, well, if this guy's on Alex's team, I know at least if things go south, I can call up Alex and be like, dude,
Directly.
what the hell is going on? You know what I mean?
Correct.
So not that that would ever happen.
No, it could happen. You never know.
You know, reputation is everything. And I think like the loan officers that do well, as you probably know, are the ones that make friends.
They do. And that's the thing. You know, you can know all the programs in the world and all the guidelines in the world, and you could be the sharpest dressed guy. But if you can't make friends with people, you will never make it.
Yeah.
I always say that, like, the best loan officers that I've dealt with, and I've even helped mentor, are the ones with the best personalities. They can make friends.
Yeah.
You know, they want to hang out with you. And they talk to you like me and you over the phone. Like we've known each other forever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, that's the best.
You gotta be able to connect with
You
people.
gotta connect with people. If you can't do that, you'll never make it. I'm telling you, I've seen some of the sharpest guys come out where I thought we're gonna make a killing. They got degrees in business and they're good looking and all that stuff, but it didn't work because they can't speak.
Yeah.
You gotta talk.
And there definitely are some, and we won't name them, but I see some agents that you meet in person and they like very analytical. They don't speak much. They don't seem very friendly.
Right. They're not friendly.
But then they sell like 100 million in a year and you're like, wow, whatever you're doing, it works.
How they're doing it. You know, and you know what it is? They're just a machine.
Yeah.
And I guess people.
Machine, that's the best way to put it. They're machines. Yeah.
Yeah. There's nothing inside
to
really talk to. I never ran my business like that. I'd rather be friends with everybody.
Yeah.
And it's better.
That's just how some people are, though, right? That's their
what it
attitude.
is.
So
right.
it works for them, right? They're killing it way more than I can ever dream of.
Well,
so
you're on your way,
we're
man.
getting there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. What's it? So we have about 10 minutes left. What about the city? What's going on in the city right now? I asked this all the city realtors that come on. You know, is it getting any better here?
So I think buyer activity is up. I think what we're dealing with right now is a lack of quality inventory, right? There's a lot of deals out there that, you know, all the bedrooms are too small for queen. You know, there's a lot of deals out in the city right now that just aren't actual deals. Just a lot of homes that, you know, they're not moving because they're not priced well, and that they're not the product that the consumer is looking for. And I think that hurts, but you know, the good deals are still flying off the market.
Is it the customer has a champagne taste?
No. Well, some definitely do, as you could probably imagine. I mean, I see it all the time.
I know
the people that want the walk-in closets and the parking and the off the main streets for $300,000. And, you know, there's definitely some people with champagne taste, but there are some real buyers. I've got a couple of them that they know what they want. They're ready to go. They're pre-approved. Maybe we've bid on some homes and lost, but the inventory is not there. And I think part of it is a lot of people refinanced and now they have these rates that you're never going to get a 2.8.
I love that he's bringing this up, right?
You're never going to get that rate again.
Right.
So now it's like someone that doesn't have to move isn't gonna.
Well, you're not going to want to move.
I was just out. So I was out with a couple of couples that my girlfriend and I are friends with, and they're telling me that their house in Malvern, they have a 3% rate. So like, yeah, while we would love to get more space, we would have to pay $1,000 extra. At this time, it's not worth it. What's going to change their mind though? Having larger families, you know, needing to move for work, things like that.
They need to move,
right? So everyone's going to always need to move.
But the people that don't want, they're not going to do it.
And I respect that, right? Because we're not, you know, I'm not here to sell you a home. I'm here to sell you on my professional services, right? You're going to buy the home that you want. My job is to learn what you want, learn what your goals are, advise you in that direction, and then walk you through the process. Whether it was your first home or your 100th home, you know, the value that my team and I bring is we know the process, we know the market, we know how to make sure that you win. But I always tell people, my job is to do the boring stuff. Your job is to figure out what you like. And we do that by looking at homes and things like that.
You primarily work the city?
Yeah. So I'm licensed in New Jersey as well. And
you do Jersey?
Yeah. Okay. I got licensed at the end of the
year.
year.
So if you didn't know that and you
licensed in PA and Jersey. If you've got deals in Camden County, Burlington County, let me know. That's really where I want to focus.
You want to do Jersey?
I want to. I live in Fishtown. So I'm right under the Betsy Ross.
Right.
I play at Pennsauken Country Club.
Okay.
It takes me 15 minutes to get there.
You jump on the bridge, you're there.
It takes me 15 minutes to get there. Yeah, you get right off on Haddonfield Road.
I know where you're at. Yeah.
So for me, it's like, why would I not? And I went to Penn State. So a lot of my sphere, because I grew up in Florida, a lot of my sphere are my friends from school. They are either moving to the suburbs or they're moving to Jersey, you know, or they're moving to the city. But
they're not really moving to the city.
A lot of them are. No, I mean, like, you know, they're moving to the city or they're moving to the suburbs. But 50% of the suburbs people are going to, Jersey, right? Because there's some good deals over there.
If I didn't have my Jersey license, I always say I probably would be hurting.
Yeah, especially from the lender. It's way busier down there.
You need, the deals are there. Movement has a great name in Philly. They have a great name in PA, but we're going to attack the South Jersey market. I do a lot of business in South Jersey, and they were happy to bring me over there because it opens up doors for them because I already have relationships with realtors.
Exactly. Yeah.
And there's a lot of deals being done there.
A lot. Yeah.
So
tough deals too. Jersey is a tough market right now. It's a different process. And that's why when I see these people trying to sell their homes on their own in Jersey, like those FSBOs, they're probably, if they price their home right, you're going to sell that home.
Sure they are.
Problem is you're probably going to leave money on the table and you're going to have a lot to navigate because it's a much different process. PA is a lot easier, I think, than Jersey. Because once you get attorneys involved,
Jersey's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
There's a lot of money to be made there. A lot of deals to have.
I always say if I was slow in Jersey, I would be doing deals in PA, right? Yeah. And if I'm slow in PA, I got Jersey to fall back on where I could do deals over there.
Yeah.
So you have to be multi-licensed in different states, I think, to really be a success in this business and not just function on just your neighborhood.
Yeah. But I do think I meet some agents that are like, hey, I only work in 19130 and I do 25% of the profit share. Or that's great. Hey, listen, kudos to them.
Mm-hmm. How they did that, I don't know. They must have really marketed it and done very well on the deals that they closed, and word of mouth got out. And now they're the neighborhood realtor that gets every single deal.
Yeah. Great. I mean, Frank Enzano, he's the CEO at Keller Williams. Frank. He would tell you that you should just focus on 200 homes in your neighborhood. Become an expert there. That's a great idea.
I mean, if he could get that niche, that's great.
But when you're first starting, I sold
You're not going to go up against McCann in a neighborhood that he is.
Pennsport, right? He's a legend in Pennsport.
You're not going to beat him there.
No.
I don't care who you are.
You're not going to beat him anywhere. Let's get that clear right now.
You're going to beat him anywhere, right? But you're not going to beat him in that neighborhood.
Exactly.
Unless you have, what if I came in with $25,000 a month in marketing dollars? Would I beat him?
No, because he spends 40. So you know what I mean? Like,
well, there you go then.
Mike is an anomaly because that man, he's going to work until he's on his deathbed. And I bet you even still, he'll be sending out, what type of day is it? Emails. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, I mean, he's the gold standard for realtors in the city, I think. But to your point, a niche market, someone that's an expert in 200 homes, that's great. But when you're first starting out, how are you supposed to make money? That was the question that I had.
It's almost impossible.
I sold my first home was $29,000.
I mean, unless you dump major investment money on hitting these people through social media, through mailings, through everything, open houses. I mean, you got to dump everything into it.
Even still, that's not going to happen overnight. It takes years of building your brand in a certain area, right? Like if you want to be a Society Hill realtor, everyone wants to do business in Society Hill.
I think you got to start on a team with a name.
Yeah.
And then you build through that name, right?
And that's what keeps me at Keller Williams is the name. Right. I'm obviously on a great team and working under a guy like Mike McCann and with those agents that kill it in the market. That's important to me and I want to learn from them. And ultimately, I want to be the worst guy in the room so that I can learn from all the best guys, right? I don't want to be in a room where I'm the best because I want that constant challenge. Like I'm always looking to compete and go up against the biggest and the best, you know? It's the only way you're going to get better.
You think you're stepping on each other's toes right now through with KW being so big in the city?
1,300 realtors. It's tough. Especially calling expireds like I do. I see a lot of deals. I see a lot of deals for people that, I'm not going to call deals that are expired from people on my team.
Yeah,
I just won't do it because look, I don't want them to think that I was trying to steal business from them.
I get it.
Your reputation is everything. But even my friends at other brokerages, I try not to call it because first and foremost, we're in this business to make money and build relationships. I think if you let the money get in front of the relationships, that's when your reputation goes down. And I want to be known as someone that not only does a lot of business, that's important, but the most important part is the business is done well. And he does it with a respectful way, whether we're doing a deal together, you're the co-op, or I'm going on a listing appointment against you. I'll never sling mud. I'll never talk bad about you. If I win that deal, I want it to be because I was the better candidate for that person, not because I started saying, wow, that guy stinks. He never combs his hair. He's going to show up to the open house in a polo. I'm going to come in a suit. Like I never want to do that. I want to do it the right way. So.
Right. And don't let the money go to your head.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Once you start making real business, the problem is that a lot of the agents and loan officers let the money go to their head.
Yeah.
I've never let that happen. It's, I'm still the same guy that I was when I started. I mean, you got to be. It's a small community that we're in. Everybody knows everybody, as you know. And when you let the money go to your head, people don't like you after a while. They don't want to deal with you. Even your own company doesn't want to deal with you because you get an ego and you start to think that you're above everybody because you made a little bit of money, right?
Yeah.
And that doesn't work in this business. I don't care what you're closing and how much you're closing. If you're not liked by your peers through other companies, loan officers, title companies, if you don't have a good name as a level-headed person who doesn't think that they walk on water, you'll do a lot better.
Yep, I agree. And I mean, I'm still new to this business, but when I have an opportunity to work with someone that I know, I'm excited. I love it because it makes the job more fun. And then you can go to your client and say, hey, look, I have a great relationship with this guy. So even though we're not the best offer here, maybe we're a little bit lower, or maybe we're doing inspections and things like that and other people aren't. They know what they get when they work with me. And I'm, obviously I still need to do hundreds and hundreds of deals to continue to build that reputation. But when I can do repeat deals with people and they know how I'm going to conduct business, then I'm not going to just not pick up the phone when they call. I'm going to communicate with them. That gets me excited. That gets me juiced up because that's, those are types of deals that I want to do for the next 20, 30 years that I'm in this business. So.
Yeah. We, the final question, and I'm being asked this every day too. Are we going to have a spring market, Alex? Or are we not going to have a spring market? It seemed like it got slow there in January, February, somewhat. We were busy and then it gets slow and then it gets, there's no steadiness right now. There's no rhyme or reason on what's going on in the market. So, they keep asking me, are we going to have a spring market? My answer to you is, after doing this for X amount of years, we will always have a spring market. It's just, what kind of spring market is it going to be?
Yeah.
And you see more than me on that side. So what is everyone saying on the realtor side? Are we going to have a spring market?
Well, I think we definitely will, right? Because ultimately the market changes seasonally. So whether it's a good or bad spring market, we're going to have a spring market. Your traditional spring market, though, starts right after the Super Bowl. But what happened this year with the Super Bowl? Everyone was drinking for 2 weeks straight.
We lost a lot. Right?
Yeah, and I think that
we did. I mean, I had the show on the day after the parade. We did the show here, and it was, I couldn't even get anybody to come on. I did the show on my own.
The whole city shut down. The school shut down. Everything was shut down for Friday.
It was dead.
But I've been coaching all my clients, like, look, whether you're a seller or buyer, the activity is going to pick up. It just might not be until March. I think everyone's still a little hungover from the Super Bowl. But I think we're definitely going to have a spring market. I think what's hurting us right now is a lack of inventory, right? And there's homes for sale right now. You can sell any home. I could turn around and sell my home tomorrow if I listed it for $300,000, right? But it's about pricing it well. It's about, making sure the motivation's there. So I do think that we're going to see more inventory hit the market. But from your end, are you seeing more buyer applications?
We're seeing more buyer applications, but there's a lot of, it seems like the buyers have a lot of more baggage.
Like credit card debts and things like that.
Issues. Yeah. Okay. It's not like shooting fish in a barrel like it was in the past, right? You really got to work these deals to get them to closing.
Well, I'll tell you what.
It's not easy.
Penn State set me back a lot. That income ratio hurts when you look at the student loans.
Right? So it seems like every deal that I'm getting is a lot more involved. There's a lot more hair on it. And it's not just like, let's just pre-approve them and give Alex a letter and you can go out shopping. No, we have to really work these people, to try to get them approved. So I think that's another issue that we're seeing.
So if buyer activity goes up and the inventory stays the same, supply and demand says that the demand is going to be through the roof. But ultimately, people aren't just going to buy homes for the sake of buying homes. They're still going to want to make sure that if central air is important to them, the house is central air. If a work from home space is important to them, then they need more than just a 2-bedroom, most likely. So I think that type of stuff is, to be seen. But I do think that a lot of people are getting their homes ready for March, April, May.
Do you think March and April will be the big months? Now, you were in it last year. You had just started in April. So you started in the heart of the spring market. So you give us the thing. Did you do the brunt of your deals in the spring and summer of last year?
No, all at the end. Yeah, all in the fall. I mean, my best months were in November and December. But think about it. So I'm a new, I had done leasing and property management for 4 years. So I knew the business. So right in April, I didn't have to learn what the agreement of sale looked like and things like that.
You already knew.
I already knew.
Right.
So I was focusing on building business. But this is what we're saying. People always say real estate's in 90-day cycles. I think that is true to an extent. But if you're a new agent, you better be prepared not to make more than $1,000 a month for 7 to 8 months. Because here's the thing.
At least.
Here's the thing. I started to get listings 2 to 3 months in. My first listing is still under contract. It was in June. You know what I mean? There's nothing that you can do to anticipate that.
Right.
My second listing was a $29,000 lot. Sold that, but what I make on that, you know what I mean? Third listing was $160,000 property. So
you officially caught fire in the fall market.
Yes, because of the work that I put in during the spring market though. Because, you know, if you start getting listings in the summer, they're probably going to go 30 to 90 days. The average in Philly is 90 days.
Yeah.
So then you have to go 90 days on the market, not making anything, and actually spending money and time at those properties, working
out of
those
your
leads.
own pocket.
Yes. And then you finally go under contract. How many more days are you looking at? Probably
another 30 to 45.
Let's call it 40 days.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden we're in October. So I didn't really start seeing commission checks until October. And then November and December were good months. And then it went into January, February, March, you know, and
the Super Bowl and all that.
We're stacking closings, but I'm still in the space where I'm looking already to April. I have no closings in April. How do I get closings in April? It starts today. We're, 30 to so.
You got to do it now.
Yeah, we're 45 days out from April. So we've got to start planning that now. And if you're a new agent, it's going to take you 3 months to get on your feet. And then you need to start looking 30 days, so 90 days in advance. Yeah. If you come into this business and you live at home and your parents pay for all your bills, you better just work hard and appreciate the fact that you don't have very much overhead. Because if you're paying rent and you're paying for groceries and you're paying your student loans and your car bills, that's a couple $1,000s a month. And if you're making nothing, you're going to deplete those savings. 6 months of savings looks really different when you're not making any money.
Yeah.
So,
but I think to leave you guys with this, I think the people that have to make those bills, the rent payments and the utilities, and they're starting are hungry.
Back to the wall.
They're hungry.
Yeah. And
right?
I mean,
versus if you live at home, I'm not putting anybody down who lives at home. You got to do what you got to do. But I think sometimes you need to be pushed.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, back against the wall is huge in this business because the agents that are comfortable, maybe they do enough to pay their bills monthly, but I'm hungrier than just paying the bills, right?
Yeah.
Like I want to build an empire. I'm trying to go to the top, and I want this long-term success for myself and for my family. And thinking, 30 years in the future, I don't want to be working as hard as Mike McCann when I'm 60 years old. I want to be playing golf every day and on the beach, but that work starts
I think
today.
He does that too, right? I mean,
now, he just started going on vacations. That guy is a killer, man. Yeah. He's insane, but yeah, no, he's the hardest worker ever, and it shows, and that's why he's the number one guy. So that's where I want to be when I'm his age. Because then it's like, if you want to keep working, great. But if you want to go to the Amalfi Coast and live that White Lotus pipe dream, you got to do the hard work now. Yeah.
You got to do the hard work when you're young, and then it'll eventually, it'll eventually blow up. Dude, you killed it.
Thank you. Really,
really good stuff.
I hope I'm not like sweating.
He's not sweating, right? You didn't bring a suit jacket, so you didn't have to take it off, and you did an awesome job. I think you tell what people want to hear, and to be the rookie of the year is not easy, as I said in the beginning of the show. So I appreciate you coming on. Yeah. I'm sure you're running around doing whatever, right?
Appreciate you having me. Yeah.
On a Sunday right before the spring market. But I only think the reason why he did it is because people are still hungover from the Eagles parade. If it was a regular market, you probably would be so busy right now, you wouldn't be able to come on.
No. You always got to have opportunities to get your face on camera and build some social media content. So I was glad to do it.
No, I appreciate it. And, Wednesday, this will air, right? Okay. So check it out, 9 a.m., YouTube, Apple Podcast, the whole nine. But we're going to bring him back on, right? So we're going to bring you back on in about 6 to 8 months.
Perfect.
We want to see what happened.
Yeah.
Right? Rada, we're lining up again too, because we want to see what happened with you guys.
Yeah.
As you left and went off and became Rookie of the Year, and then were you still rocking those numbers 6 or 8 months later? That's a good question.
Yeah, Rada, he's a great guy to bring back on. That's my guy right there. We push each other. We're hunting for deals together. So he's a good guy.
Guys, tune in this week. Check this show out. Alex, thank you for coming on, and I'll see you next week.
Thank you, guys.